Здрасте, ребята! Сегодня у нас супер необычный подкаст, потому что мне удалось позвать Лэндиса, тому самому Макса Лэндиса, который, собственно, вы его знаете по Дирку Джентли, я думаю. Из последних вещей, которые вы все любите, вы его знаете по куче сценариев для разных офигенных фильмов, вы знаете по ультраамериканцам, вы его знаете по хронике, по смерти, возвращению Супермена, по рестлинг, не рестлинг, короче, по такой, как бы, наполовину ютубной, наполовину голливудской такой, типа, серьезной, киношной фигне. То есть Макс Лэндис — это как бы человек-оркестр, который делает и то, и сё, и третье, и десятое, еще комиксы, и пишет сценарий комиксам. Вот, и, короче, он, я не скажу как, о боже мой, но он пришел к нам в подкаст поговорить про комиксы, но я не обещаю, что это будет только комиксы, возможно, это будет все на свете, потому что Макс слишком... he's a person, about English again. He's a person about everything, like he likes comics, movies, books, I suppose. So,
that's true. I'm a fan. I am very enthusiastic and passionate about most forms of art and entertainment.
Yeah.
And have a limited pool of knowledge about most things. That makes it sound like I know way more than I do.
I'm planning to make it like a 6-hour podcast.
I have about 40 minutes, so get it in.
Nice. Okay, so our podcast is about comics, but I've read American Alien, and I watched all of your, I think that it's all of your videos and all of your thoughts about comics, but I'm not sure, so I've seen all of them. So can you
Have you watched any of the really old ones?
Yes, I watched this drunk comic book history. Yeah. I've watched a lot of very old stuff, like maybe 2012 year, or maybe...
Even before, yeah. You know, my first stuff I released on my YouTube, I was just in college making stuff with my friends for fun.
You know this video from your birthday party? When it was with the music...
Is it when I kissed? Yeah, when I kissed 117 people. Wow, what a memory!
Oh yeah,
truly.
I have this music on my Apple Music.
303. My first kiss went a little Now that would get copyright strike.
Yeah. So this was my one of the first experiences, and my first experience with Max Lэндис was I think Death and Return of Superman. And I was writing a study about death in comics this time. And I was like, whoa, my God, someone made this. Someone took the very serious question, very serious subject of comic book history and made it into a great, movie. It was, made not by super professional Hollywood level, but it was better. Much better for me. So I started to watch your videos more and more, and I liked some of your thoughts about Superman. You had this pitch. I can't remember what it was called on
Probably
YouTube.
The Death and Return pitch.
Maybe some kind of just thoughts about Superman.
Oh, regarding Clark.
Yes.
Yeah, when I it's funny, that video. Lots of people reference that video. And I watch it, and I think I make some good points in it. But looking back on it now, I mean, I was working screenwriter. So me doing that way, there was an arrogance to it, because I was essentially calling out Zack Snyder in a way that I'm not sure. He was a peer. So even though I kind of seemed like a fanboy, really I was sort of speaking out of turn, even though I am a fanboy.
Yeah, of course. What do you think? So, can you imagine maybe recording the video like this right now in this year?
No.
What would change in your opinion about Superman, about all of this things going on inside the Superman, character right now in the Warner Brothers movies, maybe in this thing about Zack Snyder's cut of...
Oh yeah. Well, It's funny because, Warner Brothers DC Animated just made a movie of American Alien, basically.
Yeah.
And then in the cinematic universe, as far as live action, it really feels like they've given up on Superman. In a real way. He was barely a part of Justice League. He's
Why?
Because I think they don't know how to sell him. And
Why? Just Superman is very hard to sell right now, or how is it?
No, I think people, when they market the idea of Superman, what they think they're marketing and what they're marketing are two different things. It's a really good example of this is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man versus the Amazing Spider-Man, the Mark Webb Spider-Mans, because in one of them, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are very strange. They're weird cartoons. They're very surreal and silly. They're not normal movies. They're very stylized and unique. Whereas the Amazing Spider-Man movies, they try to sell you Spider-Man, but they try to sell you it straight. They're here's a normal big action blockbuster that's directed like a normal movie. It feels like a normal movie you might see. And when you're doing something as ridiculous as Spider-Man...
Which is better?
Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
Unquestionably.
Of course.
Well, the weird thing about...
Michael sitting here, his favorite movie is the first Amazing Spider-Man. And I'm always what? Because... the best.
That's an impressive act of liking a movie. I'm impressed that he likes that movie. That's that feels I feel like he's tough.
Yeah, he's I don't care what people think about this. So the best movie about Spider-Man is the second of Sam Raimi's. No,
I would say the second of Sam Raimi's is the best movie.
Yes.
I think in order of Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
I think it goes Spider-Man 2. Let's do it. Let's order the Spider-Man
Okay,
movie.
Spider-Man 2 with his train thing, yeah?
Yeah, with the train. Yeah. Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. Then
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I think is probably the second best one. Then Homecoming.
Yeah. Because of Michael Keaton, half of the...
Yeah,
I don't know, more than...
Michael Keaton's performance in that movie, the fact that he's giving a full movie-level performance instead of the sort of half-acting we get in Marvel movies. It's so rare in Marvel movies that someone really acts. Usually they're going through the scenes, but Downey Jr. and Chris Evans in Winter Soldier... of course, Josh Brolin as Thanos. These people give performances.
Yeah. This level of, I don't know, of the theater, maybe, of the professional theater, and of some kind of the same thing about Tom Hiddleston, I think. He played in theater, and then he came to the Marvel movies, and he was
they do. They add a bigness to that. Yeah. Well, also, you look at fucking Heath Ledger. He's giving a performance. And I really felt like Josh Brolin as Thanos really got there. Okay, so that's 3.
So,
Probably then Spider-Man 1.
Yes.
Then Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your top 5, and those are 5 really good movies.
What do we have, the second one, The Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Wait, no. So there's 5 good ones. I would say next up, they're all bad from here on in.
The third Spider-Man of Sam Raimi, it's bad, but the dance thing.
Yeah, all the Venom stuff is bad, but I would say it's funny bad.
Yeah.
So I'm going to make it...
The dance is iconic,
6, Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
6 is Spider-Man 3. Yeah. Then Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah. And then...
Then Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah. But
wow, that's not a bad ratio. 5 good movies, 2 bad ones. That's better than Star Wars.
let's talk about Star Wars. No.
Let's never talk about Star Wars. I'm out of things to say about Star Wars.
I'd better talk about Batman movies and.
Let's talk about Batman movies. Are you excited for the Pattinson?
I wanted to ask you about Dane DeHaan. You worked with him in the Chronic.
Yeah, I basically helped kick off his career. It was cool.
Yeah, that's the only thing I like about the Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is him.
I love him as an actor, but Harry Osborn for me as a character, it has to be a good-looking, not creepy guy.
But not James Franco.
I didn't mind James Franco. He didn't really make sense. But, there needs to be... Harry, the ironic thing about Harry historically, right, is his father is a zillionaire, right? Mm-hmm. And yet his only friend at school is fucking the biggest dork. So but
he was a dork, a bit.
Harry was like a little bit of a dork, but he had a bunch of money behind him, and he was dating Mary Jane at first. So he's dating a really hot girl. He's his life is good. But his father doesn't love him. He loves Peter Parker. Norman Osborn loved Peter Parker more than he ever loved Harry because he saw more of himself in Peter Parker. That's what makes the Goblin thing such a wonderful Shakespearean tragedy, is the sort of triangle, the love triangle between these three men. It is. Yeah. And that's what makes it so sad after Norman dies, that Harry becomes an addict and goes crazy.
Yeah, he becomes, yeah.
I mean, there's something wonderful about that, because Harry was never truly the Goblin. Not in a real way.
How's it called? Oedip? No, yeah. The pervert thing, Oedip complex, but with a father,
Oedipus complex.
Yeah, Oedipus, yeah.
The Oedipal complex, it is. It's even more like that, because... The becoming of Harry becoming the Goblin ultimately. Yeah. You have to keep in mind, when Harry first became the Goblin in the comics, he was only the Goblin for one issue, and he was spinning out on drugs, dressed up in a fucking Halloween costume, trying to kill his wife and kid.
Pathetic. Pathetic.
Moment in Spider-Man comics. Yeah. And then he saves the day and dies, and now he's back, of course, because of One More Day. But I'm a classical guy with comics. I talk about the classical stories. It's very hard for me to invest in stuff like House of M. And
oh my god, I sometimes I feel like I'm not a fan of comics, because I can't read all the issues of 3,000 new issues of Green Lantern or kind of this, and I'm
don't get me started on the Green Lantern thing. That's when I stopped reading comics. Was all the different color lanterns.
Yes.
And around the same time they were doing, and now there's a bunch of different color Hulks. And I was kind of like, what's happening?
Oh, fuck no, yeah.
I wasn't all the way to fuck no. I just felt like I couldn't keep up anymore.
How many Green Lanterns do you know? Sorry.
How many Green Lanterns can I name?
Yeah.
Hal Jordan, Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, Tomar Ray. I'll start naming Green Lanterns not of Earth. Tomar Ray, Abin Sur. What the fuck is Yellow Lantern's real name? What's his name? The main Green Lantern bad guy, purple guy. The corrupt cop.
Oh my god. This is happening
Sinestro?
Sinestro, yeah.
There we go, the corrupt cop.
Yes. I can name him because he was on a DC animated series, some kind of DC animated movie.
Oh, he's in lots of them. It's bizarre that there's no Green Lantern TV show. Green Lantern makes so much more sense as a TV show than Flash or Green Arrow. The fact that there's no Green Lantern TV show is mystifying to me. Because then every season, you could do the whole show as an anthology. And every season, do season 1, Hal Jordan, season 2, Guy Gardner, season 3, Kyle Rayner, season 4.
You can make a Doctor Who of this.
Exactly right. Green Lantern is the OG Doctor Who, except for he's space police. He's, it's such an easy show.
And, I think it's about graphics. it's like a TV show. You can see what's going on in Flash or maybe in Green Lantern, like these graphics.
It would be expensive.
Yes, space.
The thing is, it depends how you do it. You know, it depends how you build into it. You can find a way into Green Lantern that's very cheap. It just depends on how much he uses the ring. You know,
if Gene Roddenberry could make Star Trek in the 60s.
Think about episodes of The Twilight Zone, where there's massive sci-fi concepts executed on a $100 budget. Like they execute intellectually. And there's ways to execute everything from The Matrix to Independence Day on an intellectual level. It just comes down to really picking and choosing your big moments. And in a Green Lantern show, remember the original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, I think his name is? Holy shit, look at me. I'm a nerd.
I think you're right, but I'm not sure, so...
He would stick, well, Jay Garrick is the name of the original Flash. Yeah. So Alan Scott has to be the Green Lantern, the one with the cape.
Yeah.
He would have to charge his ring inside one of those power batteries. So if in the pilot of the Green Lantern show, he gets a ring, but the whole first season is trying to charge it.
Yeah, like you know, like the pre-origin, like kind of this. And the last episode, he's like, finally doing this, and then season 2 is coming like this.
Oh, I don't even think, you know, honestly, if first season was Hal Jordan, I don't even think I'd ever get him the ring. I think he'd charge it in the last 2 episodes and he wouldn't know how to use it. So he would have to use his smarts as a pilot and a military guy to get out of the big world-ending situation. And then at the end of the last episode of the first season, in the last minute, it works. And it's like, oh, I could have done this from the beginning. I don't know. Something about that's very exciting to me.
Like Supernatural, it's like season 15. He's still with the ring and he's like, oh my God, I can't do this again. And
you know what's interesting?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what Supernatural is about. And everyone who has ever tried to explain what Supernatural is about to me has been a girl.
I can.
You can? Okay, so before you do it, everyone who's explained Supernatural to me has been a girl, and they say there's 2 hot boys and they're brothers, and they drive around in a sexy car and fight demons.
No.
This is what everyone has told me the show is.
Supernatural is about I hope my jokes are good, but
I wish you could see what I'm seeing.
Supernatural is about 2 brothers in love with each other, like in a romantic way.
What? I'm sorry, is this the Russian adaptation of Supernatural? What did you just say to me? Supernatural is about 2 brothers in love with each other in a romantic... What is this podcast?
Yes, about comics. So I've never said anything like this, and we're... Okay, guys, we're coming back to Batman.
No, we're going right back to Supernatural. You're gonna get gone after by the Supernatural fandom. You believe Supernatural is a demon-hunting incest romance show? I'm so excited to hear you talk about this right now.
Not me. It's like the huge fandom thing. And just because of this, Supernatural is popular. Like till this season's, like which season is now? Is like 15th or?
You are talking about the phenomenon known as wincest?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I have Batgirl, I have Oracle in my ear, and she gives me the information that I need. You're talking about wincest, which is incest between the Winchester brothers, which is like a thing that I assumed existed, but yet now it's like a real definite thing.
Yes, it exists, yeah.
I mean, when I was doing Dirk, one of the funny things about doing Dirk was originally I was going to reveal him as gay in season 1, and then I thought...
Reasonable.
Well, then I thought I had this weird thing where I thought, I don't know if Dirk knows he's gay. And because I was thinking about his life, and he's had so few romantic interactions in his life because he's basically gone from case to case since he was 9. So I was thinking what I wanted to do in season 3 was to have Dirk, because then I was like, I want to introduce gay characters in season 2 and have Dirk interact with them briefly. And then in season 3, I want to have him realize he's gay. And I want to do it in a scene where he and Todd are in the car and Dirk talks about how attractive a woman is who's walking by. And Todd looks at him and goes, like, are you gay? And Dirk goes, it's just an attractive woman, Todd. I don't. And then he goes, like, and then you hard cut to Dirk talking to Farrah, and he's sobbing, and he's like, so many things are falling into place, and Farrah is not good with emotional interactions, so she's just sitting there going like this, okay, and Dirk is like, this is the biggest thing that's ever happened to me, and then you hard cut back to them, back in the car on the stakeout, and that I didn't want to get into Dirk having a relationship till later in that season, but the assistant to Friedkin, I forgot the character's name now, assistant is his name.
Where can I watch it? Where, please?
It just doesn't exist, it's so frustrating.
Please, where can I watch it right now?
Yeah, I feel like I should say something. I feel like, but I also don't want to be that guy who's like gay baiting, you know?
Yeah. I think Dirk Gently is like the person who he doesn't need to know it now, like in the first season, like what for?
Yeah, I didn't. Well,
so what?
I didn't want to have any romance at all or sexuality at all in the first season because I wanted to create. With Amanda in the Rowdy 3, there's a little sexual tension between her and sort of them, but not really. And it was because I wanted to create, in the first season, my main priority was creating really lasting friendships for the characters that would bring us into the second season. And then I could, even Bart and Ken aren't romantic, you know, it's all about, Dirk is about the joy of platonic friendship and helping each other. And then I wanted to get more romantic, do a season 3 that was literally just people making out the whole time. Like, just finally, like, pull the cord on it. And I even had Dirk, there was a lot of talk kind of about Todd and Farrah as maybe a couple, but I didn't think they worked really. And I liked them better as like a team of friends. So I have them in Dirk season 2. You find out they've slept together off screen. It like happened at some point and it doesn't matter.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, it was fine. You know, they didn't fall in love.
Oh, okay, well, come on.
Yeah, we gotta find Dirk. Yeah, and so, and I kind of wanted to do, in season 3, Amanda, Todd's sister, meets a holistic bomb. One of the characters in season 3 is a bomb, and he, the way he works is around every 3 hours he goes off. And when he goes off, around him, without fire, without anything, there's the effect of a nuclear explosion. So he's in Blackwing, except for he's out in the middle of Canada, way far away from anything, in the middle of this giant expanse in this crater where he lives.
Like an explosion, like somewhere else?
No. Him. He blows up. And if you're near him, you get incinerated, so no one can go near him. But he's like 25, and he's like Edward almost from Twilight. He's like really tragic. He's like, no one can get...
to know each other, someone, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No one can get close to me. Yeah. But he's just a total fuckboy, which is like even better because he's like just a total, he just wants to get laid. And like he and Amanda have a romance where
he can't get laid because he will.
Well, we find out he can and does get laid a lot. And he always tells women like, I only have 2 hours. But he's really hot and he's really charming, but he ends up kind of being a bad guy in season 3, but less of a villain, more of just sort of a fuckboy. We like him, but he's a loser. The villain of season 3 ultimately is Amanda.
She's like, I don't know, why?
Because she sees, as she gets more and more in tune with reality through the Rowdy 3, she sees that our reality is flawed and falling apart. And she becomes convinced almost like on a religious level, that in order to save our reality, it has to be restarted.
Okay, restarted like what?
She has to wipe the timeline.
Like in Doctor Who?
I don't know. I don't watch enough Doctor Who. But Dirk Gently's a very Doctor Who adjacent show, so I don't like Doctor Who. I feel it's for babies. It's for babies. I mean, like people can like it. I'm not mad at Doctor Who. But like
never watched a single episode of Doctor Who?
No, I've watched an insane amount of Doctor Who. You think I'd be on a podcast saying Doctor Who is for babies if I hadn't watched 20 hours of Doctor Who? I've watched I would never. That's not my brand. If I say I'm not interested in something, it's because I've engaged with it extensively and I'm not interested in it. Doctor Who, I mean, I've seen all of the best episodes and they're great. Like the fucking Weeping Angels, the episode where people are getting shot back in time. The one where they're all on that. Have you ever seen the one where they're all in that, like it's almost like a subway or a monorail and there's a thing outside that like grabs people? I love that one. There's a lot of
the midnight when they're on a planet.
Yes.
And the thing knocking out like from the outside.
No, trying to get in.
Yeah, where the Colin Morgan is like, what the fuck? I'm a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. I know all about the Daleks. I know about the Cybermen. I've done a tremendous amount of research on Doctor Who. I know all about the Dalek who they tried to make human and then he was too smart and then they had to kill him. I know all about Doctor Who. And I don't like it.
Maybe you're grown up.
I think that's part of it. You know, when it comes to like antiseptic space shows, my weapon of choice was Stargate SG-1. I loved Stargate SG-1. And then, you know, Rob Cooper, who wrote most of Stargate SG-1, was my partner on Dirk. So like he made my life possible in like a really major way on that show. And, you know, the guy who brought Dirk to me was named Arvind Ethan David. And he had been obsessed with Dirk his whole life. And you know that Dirk started as a Doctor Who script.
No.
Okay, so here's an interesting fact about Dirk Gently. So Douglas Adams, he was a fanboy and he wanted to write on Doctor Who. So he wrote a little bit on Doctor Who, but the scripts he wrote that they didn't make, he took and swapped them around and messed them up, and he made that into the first Dirk Gently book. Boom. And that's why the first Dirk Gently book is not as good as the second one.
Time travel?
That was all Doctor Who.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then the second Dirk Gently book, Long Dark Tea Time, which is the one I like more, that one was written for Dirk, and that's why it's better. But you want to know the craziest thing of all? So I had a 5-season plan for Dirk, and the big thing at the end of the 3rd season that I was like excited about, and now I don't. The 3rd season was all about doubles and copies of people. Doppelgangers, but do you know there was another Dirk on BBC? There was a Dirk with Stephen Mangan. There was an adaptation that wasn't really true to the book and wasn't true really. It didn't really feel like Douglas Adams. It was sort of its own thing. Some people love it, some people don't like it at all.
It's like the British like adaptation, like all this.
Yeah, but you know, my adaptation of Dirk is mostly stuff I made up. Like, it's very different from the books. It's meant to be more of a Douglas Adams tribute record than a faithful adaptation of the book. So
you don't have to use a book all the time, like when writing, like.
Well, you know, it's ironic because my whole life I was like, why didn't they adapt it more like the original? You know, I was that guy. Yeah. And then I got the opportunity to adapt something and I was like, what? You know, but what I wanted to do in the, sorry, this Red Bull coming right at me.
Oh, it's okay.
In the 3rd season, what I wanted to do was have Stephen Mangan, the guy who plays Dirk from the other TV show.
To play another Dirk?
Play that Dirk. And I wanted Amanda.
The original.
You know how Amanda. So Amanda, you know how she can see through portals and stuff? Yeah. She accidentally brings him through and becomes convinced he's the real Dirk. And that our dimension is a mistake. So there's a Dirk Gently in season 3 and 4, who's the other Dirk, who's the Dirk more like I'd have him playing the Dirk from the books. Like, versus Sam Barnett. I don't know. I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, it's good. It's very good. I'd like to watch it right now.
Yeah, what a shame. Maybe a comic one day.
Yeah, do you think, like, sometime, maybe 10 years later, some Netflix thing will come to you? And
I don't know. I have no idea what entertainment's going to look like in 10 years. I have a lot of theories about
VR game, Dirk Gently, like, with this.
In my dreams. I mean, like, I have no idea what 10 years is going to look like. I watched this terrible, terrible thing on Shudder last night called Blood Engines or Blood Space or something. And it was like a YouTube video. It was only 15 minutes long, but they called it a TV show. Even though it was only 15 minutes. They were like, this is a limited series. And I was like, okay, but isn't this a YouTube video? Like, our nomenclature and how we define all of these things from like a taxonomical standpoint. I've been very into definitions lately in all ways. I get very excited about definitions and language and how we communicate certain ideas. And I've really lost track in the current culture of how we talk about content and how we talk about media. Because like I'm making a video right now where I say this, so I'm quoting myself in advance. But basically, I watched an 1.5 hour long YouTube video from Your Movie Sucks, a YouTube channel run by a guy named Adam, who's wonderful. But I watched an 1.5 hour long video about the remake of Old Boy. The thing is, the remake of Old Boy is an 1.5 hour long. So I watched a review as long as the movie. So did I watch a documentary? Was that a documentary? What even is a documentary anymore? Like in the modern idea of things. Yeah. Because have you ever watched any of that like long form YouTube content where they just dissect an idea endlessly?
We have some Russian bloggers and one guy, he made a video about our famous movie about Russian history, part of history in USSR, this. And his YouTube video was about like 3 hours long.
Jesus. Yeah, is that a movie? At that length? Is it a film?
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is crazy, and he was like explaining the whole plot, why this was wrong, why this is wrong, why the screenwriters are wrong here.
Oh God. That sounds more like the product of obsession than a healthy creative outline.
Yeah,
a healthy creative outlet.
He's very popular, so people like watch the 3 hour YouTube video about these movies sucks. Yeah, really. And they were like, he's right, and oh, okay, he's really right. The movie sucks. Yes.
Have you ever seen Russian Ark?
No.
Russian Ark is a movie. Who made it? Alexander something. I don't remember, but they made this movie called Russian Ark, which is about Russian history, but it's all one shot. And they travel.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Of course I watched it. It's the famous Russian movie made by one shot.
One shot moves through the whole thing.
Yes.
I haven't seen it. I've only watched parts of it. And I wondered what your opinion on it was, because you are Russian.
Alexander Sokurov, yeah.
What do you think of that movie? I was thinking about watching it this evening.
Like a great documentary about the epoch, like about the time. It is. I think it's the beginning of the 19th century, like Russia with the empire, all of this, like, and the movie is great because of costumes.
Yeah, it's like a beautifully made film.
Yeah. It's like a favorite. Well, without
yeah, it's like the favorite, but for Russia. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Are you going to sabotage our election this year?
Yes.
Damn it! I knew it! I knew it was you, Maria. I knew the whole time. I knew in my mind.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, sabotage it the other way this year.
You can choose which president I could sabotage. Like which president you like to be.
Oh, I can tell you?
Yes.
I can choose right now? Hey, sabotage Trump. Mix it up.
Can you give me a reason? Why should I?
I will Venmo you $10.
No, like he's evil.
Ideologically, why should you do Trump? Really? The reason that I really feel in my heart?
Yes.
Do you want to know why I really don't like Trump? Beyond anything he's done, beyond politics, beyond any of it. Do you want to know? This is really from the heart. And I haven't admitted.
Bad taste for haircuts?
No, dumber than that. The reason I don't like Trump, and I haven't liked him my whole life, beyond The Apprentice, but when he was on wrestling, I didn't like him. It has nothing to do with anything he can control. I don't like the sound of his voice. I don't like hearing. What's up here? And I can't even do an impression of it because it would upset me. I don't like the sound of his voice. You know what I like about Joe Biden? Can barely talk. Can't even string a sentence together. I'm never going to have to listen to that guy. I'm ready for a silent president. My dream. My girlfriend. My girlfriend looks so sad.
My knowledge of American politics situation right now and about the election, it's like not this good because I think I'm not following like the whole.
Hey, we Americans aren't following the fucking election either. We're all too busy with Black Lives Matter and coronavirus, and we barely care about coronavirus. Jesus.
I know this thing about Black Lives Matter. I know about the election thing. I know about coronavirus and murder hornets.
The murder. Why do you know about the murder hornets? You're in Russia. You know, they say they only found one of them?
Yeah? Where?
One dead one. And it was a news story. They found one dead one. And they were like, murder hornets? Do you realize, like, if they hadn't found that dead bug, how different the news cycle? If someone hadn't picked up I'm talking directly to someone sitting there. Hey.
Yeah.
Wait, look at me. If someone hadn't picked up that bug, that dead bug, and gone, what a weird looking dead bug this is. I should show it to someone. The whole news cycle would have been different that week. And it's just a dead bug. It's that big. And it changed the whole news cycle. I don't know. That's fascinating to me. I have to go in 5 minutes.
Okay. So 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Is this fun for you? Am I rewarding to talk to?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'm thinking about like I need second podcast.
You need a second podcast?
I had
what do you want to... You want to talk comics? I'm about to start reading my first comic in a while called Paper Girls. I read some of it and I really liked it. And so I'm picking it back up. I had, in case you wanted to talk to it, I had my 2 recommendations that most people would have read. But for Marvel, I recommend People the Ultimates. Mm-hmm. Just because this is basically the movie that inspired the first Avengers, but R-rated. This is real good. And then I have Kingdom Come, which is my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite, most beautiful DC comic. Also, you can tell I stole this from a library. So it's all beat to shit from when I was very young. I think I stole this in like 2003. Look at that.
Yeah, it's great.
Captain Marvel. Yeah. But I had those ready.
I think the second one, if you're okay with this, because I'm serious. I'm joking, but I'm serious.
You want to talk to me more?
Yes.
This is like my first podcast back in like 2-3 years, and you want to get 2 out of me?
Great. Because I'd like to ask you maybe to discuss one of your favorite comic books, like Kingdom Come.
Oh, I would love that. I would love to be able to discuss Kingdom Come.
We have usually we have like me and one other girl. She's like stopped doing podcasts, but we used to read some comics and then discuss them. So this was like the usual thing, like sitting and discussing comics. So we discussed Mouse of R. Spiegelman. We discussed some Russian superhero comics. We discussed some of Batman. I'm planning to discuss Batman Year One.
Cool. I love Batman Year One.
Yeah.
Really well done. Became Batman Begins.
So I'm discussing all of this, and if you can come to podcast next time, like talk about your favorite comic books and like why, when you first, I don't know.
I have the comic that got me into comics right there.
Yeah, which one? Which is?
So this isn't the original copy of it, but when I was in 5th grade, at the back of the class, in the books area, was a copy of Stan Sagai's Usagi Yojimbo Book 4, or Usagi. Usagai or Usagi, depending on your pronunciation.
I think it's Usagi, yeah.
Yeah, it's about a samurai rabbit. There's Genosuke fighting with the blind pig, who's meant to be a sort of analog for Zatoichi.
From Japan or?
Yeah, it's a Japanese, it's Japanese-American comic. I absolutely love it. I'm actually, when I get off here, I'm going to reread this Zato Ino Genosuke fight because I remember reading it as a little kid and loving it. But I have to go now, Maria.
Okay, so I have to go invite you again and talk about comics and about Batman because my favorite comic book character is Batman. Like the most favorite. So
I would love that. Just let me know, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Have a good night.